So you're 18, you're in LA, you're playing, but nobody's really buying into it.
Yeah, you know, we assume that we are the most technically proficient musicians, therefore we should be the most popular musicians. But in most people's minds, that equation doesn't make any sense at all. So we started hearing stuff like, you guys have the attention span of a flea. You need to write songs with hooks and choruses, and to me it was just like, what's a hook? That sounds really intriguing. I got to figure this out.
So how did you do that?
Well, first of all, I just started trying. I started talking to other people, other musicians, like, what is a hook? What's a chorus? How do you structure a song? And then just started trying to write it myself, and with mixed results. But then also, the other key was I got a job at Tower Records. I'm not sure where I am in the building right now, but it's just down the street.
Over there somewhere.
Oh, down there.
It used to be there.
Yeah, it used to be there.
Yeah.
I worked there for a year and a half, and I went in like this long-haired guy with a fanny pack and, you know, listening to Yngwie Malmsteen, and I came out the guy in Weezer, basically. And that's because every day the other employees there would spin either the new Sonic Youth or the new Pixies, or, you know, the new Nirvana EP way before Nevermind came out, or they'd be playing like the reissue of Pet Sounds, or 13th Floor Elevator. That's a band, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, it's like, you know, really old, cool music. And for the first 6 months, I'm just like, what is this? This is terrible. All this, there's no shredding solos. They're not proficient enough or whatever. And but over that year and a half, my musical values really evolved, and I came to see the value in melody and song structure and composition.
So you got an education working in a record store.
I really did.
Listening to some of the music that was being played in the store then, I guess there was all sorts of stuff being played. Probably, as you mentioned, some of the bands, the newer bands that were coming up at the time. But you were probably still hearing like classic rock as well. Was there anything you discovered, any guitarists you discovered during that time that perhaps you weren't aware of before?
No, I don't think so. In fact, I don't know at what point it occurred, but there couldn't have been a more radical turnaround. It was 180 degrees from what, not just myself, but so many other kids in my scene. What we thought was cool now was the epitome of uncool, and vice versa. So suddenly, you know, any kind of technical proficiency, or, you know, guitar wanking, any of that stuff is totally out. And we cut the hair and never looked back.
So when did Weezer start?
Weezer started, I left Tower Records in the summer of '91 and went to Santa Monica College in Santa Monica. And then, you know, 6 months later, Weezer formed out there in West LA.
And did you know at the time what you wanted to do? Was there a plan in place? You've had this musical education. Your head's turned around 180 at least.
Yeah.
And did you know what you wanted to do when you started this band?
Yeah, I waited a long time. I knew that I wanted to write songs and sing now, because I hadn't been a singer before. I was just a guitar player. So now I want to write songs and sing and have a band, and I'm going to wait. I'm not going to form it right away. I'm just going to write songs, hone my craft, get a good... I was thinking I want 50 songs in my catalog before I even have one rehearsal with the band. So I got pretty close to that, and then, you know, mostly Pat nudged me into like, let's get this going. And so then by the time we had our first rehearsal, we were, I mean, in a sense, we were already pretty our direction was somewhat set.
Did you have a model that you were going for with the songs? Were you trying to write a commercial song?
I think I remember at one point when I wrote the song No One Else, which is on that first album, I remember thinking, this is the model song. I love this style so much. The really strong melodies, the major key chord progressions, super chunky guitars, confessional lyrics, very, very pop feel to it, driving rhythm, no flashy ornamentation or figuration. To me, this is the sound of Sonic Youth meets the Beach Boys. So that's what I thought the model was.
Because why? Describe that a little bit if you can. I mean, I can think of what Sonic Youth sound like, and I can think of what the Beach Boys sound like, but how would you describe that sound coming together?
Weezer's first album.
Fair enough.
I'd say from the Beach Boys, it's melody and the chord progressions and the major key. Songs about girls, pretty direct, not trying to be too poetic or sophisticated. And from Sonic Youth, just the passionate playing, the feedback, the distorted guitars, the coolness. Those are all things